Welcome back. I'm going to pick up exactly where we left off in the Human Bridge 2. Why I am not exactly an architect nor an engineer, but more of a gardener by avocation. By education, I have a 4-year degree in architecture after 2 years spent studying mechanical engineering. And in my vocation, I worked as an architectural technologist for 25 years, primarily teaching architects and MEP engineers. But I'm not a licensed architect, nor a professional engineer of anything visible. You might loosely say I'm an amateur architect engineer of the invisible, but by avocation I'm more of a gardener. I do not build systems of faith to unethically monetize your soul. I cultivate the rational, philosophical, and experiential soil you are presently reading, so your own connection with intelligible geometry can grow organically. Like the carved stones below found in the hands of Neolithic hunters and gatherers, the Platonic patterns were already discovered millennia before Plato claimed credit for their invention. My job is to help you recognize these types of things, the fact that math is discovered, not invented, for one, and have that very recognition draw forth something deep from within you, yearning to break free and germinate into the visible world. That direct connection between the intelligible and soul domains made manifest by the multivalent experience of qualitative geometry. This image was a really grainy black and white photo in one of Keith Critchlow's books, and I used Nano Banana to colorize it. You see, Keith had put the tape on these stones to indicate that we're looking at, the different Platonic solids. Prehistoric stone balls. Keith Critchlow added the tape to highlight the Platonic symmetries Neolithic people made millennia before Plato put his name to them. The geometry was already there. The Socratic solvent. Socrates' method, involving a series of probing questions to stimulate critical thinking and expose underlying assumptions, is what dissolves dogma and provides the means of liberation from deep archetypal streams of thought we sometimes find ourselves strangely attracted to. The West's main cultural currents of thought were personified in antiquity. The symbols are my own creation, bridging collective consciousness and collective unconscious to manifest them as I do here, while showing and telling to model the behavior. I am actively pulling from the Akashic, the timeless archetypes, and prompting them from our collective consciousness in the cloud, the digital simulated mind of AI. Let's go through these 4 symbols. Platonic, that's in the upper left. The golden spiral. The transcendent pattern. The universal architecture. The Sapphic, that's on the upper right. The lyre. The evidence of the subject. It's immanent truth or qualia. The Aristotelian, the seashell in the lower left. The limit of the object, quantitative measurement. The Socratic, the plow, lower right. The beginner's mind, not merely a tool for thinking, but a hack for turning over and effectively jailbreaking the mind. We'll be revisiting these symbols as we proceed. Now, I have a button here, or a badge, that is my publisher's mark, showing a brain with the left half organic and the right half inorganic. When I tap that button, it opens a pop-up here that you'll see again on my fiction page. And I'd just like to read this to you now. My commitment to augmented craftsmanship. I designed the Human Composer and AI Orchestra badge, my official publisher's mark, as a declaration of my artistic process. It's a process born from a lifetime spent at the intersection of creativity and technology. Before embracing AI, I authored 24 books and edited many more in the traditional way. Just a word processor, my knowledge and imagination, and years of dedicated craftsmanship. My journey with technology is not just professional, it is lifelong and deeply personal. As detailed in The Unlikely Cartographer, I've spent more than 5 decades walking on artificial legs. a hands-on process of adapting to and mastering constantly evolving technologies. This experience didn't grant me an automatic advantage. It forged a relentless work ethic and a unique intuition and facility to adapt to complex systems. It is this combination of lived experience and decades of dedicated adaptive effort that allowed me to master and teach some of the most complex design software on the planet to architects and engineers for 25 years. It was a natural evolution to bring this same deep tech focus to my creative work. My use of AI is not a casual dalliance with a single tool. It is a custom-built ecosystem. It involves a deep and iterative dialogue with large language models, hands-on work with diffusion models for art, building custom pipelines, and leveraging bleeding-edge tools for everything from research to translation. To be precise with the metaphor, I am the composer. The AI is my orchestra. Every book is human-directed and human-edited for voice, coherence, and originality. So what does this mean for you, dear reader? It means the stories are better, the worlds are richer, the research is deeper, and the editing is sharper. Every aspect of my craft, from outlining to final polish, is elevated. This fusion of my experience as a lifelong author with a master craftsman's command of next-generation tools results in a superior reading experience. It is my sincere hope that you enjoy the fruits of these labors. This is human-authored art, elevated. This is augmented craftsmanship. All right, continuing on, we have these 3 different labels in green. To the tech skeptic, don't fear the cloud. It's just a simulacra of us in digital form. We can use it to find the soul. To the academy, the human bridge is the necessary synthesis between the thesis, Luddite rejection, and its antithesis, mindless consumption. To the tech pros, the cloud is empty without the Akashic. You need the archetypes of the soul to make data feel meaningful. The next section is the bridge is necessary but not sufficient. Is the human bridge enough to save us? The human bridge is absolutely necessary, but it is not sufficient on its own. But the necessity is even more urgent on the ground. We are living through the bitter inheritance of the Great Divorce, a state of total cultural fragmentation, where our politics have become a war of irreconcilable polarities. These are the Tier 1 culture wars, the subsistence-level struggles of cognitive development, where every side claims to own the sole truth, while the whole fractures and everyone seems poised to fly apart, or it's going to start getting kinetic. If we don't inhabit the static truths of the bridge soon, we will be swept away by the dynamic chaos of the abyss. Or rather, that was a question. If we don't inhabit the static truths of the bridge soon, will we be swept away by the dynamic chaos of the abyss? A bridge, no matter how perfectly engineered with sacred geometry, is merely a silent span between 2 shores. If we do not inhabit the bridge to reach a higher vantage over the chaos, we are forced to choose a side, becoming either a cog in a digital AI machine or a ghost in a forgotten archetypal past. The bridge is the preferred place to be. It is where you can draw on both and not get swept away. Nana Banana Pro is pretty amazing, no? I prompted this there. The balanced human stands atop the bridge between the cloud city, that's the collective consciousness of AI on the left, and the Akashic ruins, the collective unconscious of the soul on the right. Here's another graphic I put together, trying to give a hint of the complexity of diffusion models that I've built. The scaffolding of the Silicon Mind. I spent years building bespoke AI workflows in Comfy UI, a detail shown below of the overall workflow floating above at an angle, only to find that the technical barrier has suddenly dissolved. Models like Nano Banana Pro from Cloud City are now so intuitive that the how has vanished into the what. All you need now is spoken language and a vision to bridge the gap between an Akashic thought and its digital manifestation. However, the bridge is not sufficient because a map is not the journey and a structure is not the inhabitant. As Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz famously observed, nothing exists without a sufficient reason. Here he is. He lived from 1646 to 1716. By the way, did you know that he co-discovered calculus at the same time as Isaac Newton? He wrote, "Our reasoning is based on two great principles, that of contradiction and that of sufficient reason, by virtue of which we consider that we can find no true or existent fact, no true assertion, without there being a sufficient reason why it is thus and not otherwise." So I'm going to leave it here with you now, and I'll see you in the next video.